Hello and welcome to another edition of Scan's Career Corner, co-sponsored by the Greater Long Branch Chamber of Commerce. Today's show is going to feature, among other people, someone by the name of Gordon Heggie, who's from Atlantic Security in West Long Branch. And Gordon's going to tell us how he got into the security business. I know Gordon from our Rotary days together, and he not long ago spoke about his career to the Rotarians in Long Branch, and I was so delighted to hear his background that I said he'd be perfect for Career Corner. So welcome, Gordon.
Thank you, Len.
How did you get into all
Well,
this?
it started way back in the mid-'70s when I got out of high school. I started working for an electrician, and as I was working for the electrician, on the side, I started doing some alarm work. And a gentleman from Long Branch started training me personally how to do the work, and little by little, I learned the trade, and by 1980, I started doing it full-time. I went to work for a company in West Long Branch, Powers Electronics, and that over the years, that company was sold, became another company called Alarm Guard, which was then bought out by ADT. So after all that, I was out of a career, and by 1999, I was in the position to start Atlantic Security. So at that point, I started the company with my partner, Tom Giordano, and another partner, Karen Siegel. And now my son is also a partner of the company. So here we are, you know, it's almost 16 years later, and we have a nice, thriving company and a nice customer base.
So essentially what you're saying is one of the backgrounds you really need is based in electronics or electrical systems and things like that?
Yes, a good hands-on of electronics. Computer knowledge now is very vital to the trade because there's so much programming that we do with the alarms now. It's not just running wires and relays and switches like it used to be. There's a lot of programming that's involved. So the best thing to do is start at a technical school or get a company to hire you on as a helper and get trained that way, and then you learn the trade working up through the ranks.
Has the devices that you install, let me go back a step. Mm-hmm. Do you do this for offices, industries, homes, stores?
We cover everything. Yeah, we do businesses, stores, jewelry stores, banks, commercial buildings, of course, homes, and. But
you never learned to safe crack, right? Those banks?
No.
Okay.
No.
But it's because the bank, I want my money to be secure too.
Yeah.
So have you found that the devices that you install in all these places have changed since like 1980 when you first started out?
Dramatically.
Give us an example.
Well, I mean, at one point, a system you would arm it with a normal, like a key switch, and then went to digital keypads. So now all the relays and all the hard wiring is changing, and most of the systems now have become wireless. So we run very little wires now, especially in a home. It's like 90% wireless, and only a few of the devices are hardwired. Now, when it comes to smoke detectors and fire alarms, those are still hardwired.
Because some go to a central station someplace, or to a fire department or police department.
Yeah, fire alarms are required in many buildings. So they all
like our condos, where it's a whole bank of apartments.
Multi-tenant buildings, large commercial buildings, and buildings that have sprinkler systems. They have to be monitored. So.
And I noticed that one of my neighbors, he has a very similar home theater system, but he has security tied in. So you often work with the people who do the home theater because there's components there that says, okay, we're going to do security. Well, certainly the home theater guys aren't doing security. They're not doing cameras or anything
Some
like that.
do. Some do. We really concentrate mostly on security, fire, video, and access control. And a lot of the home automation guys and the sound guys are crossing over too. So we try to work together with a lot of companies. When we need to bring that in, we'll bring a person in from the outside.
And you also mentioned that there's also a bunch of now it's external wireless cameras and where if our development wanted to do wireless cameras, for example, we have those 5 buildings.
Right.
Who watches this stuff? I mean, it's nice, but people work, or people are taking care of their kids, or going to see mom and dad. Who watches the video?
Traditionally, most cameras are still hardwired. There's some wireless, but most applications are still hardwired, and nobody watches them. They go to a recorder.
Okay.
So you can go to recorder where you're storing memory for maybe as long as a month or 2 months. So if there's an incident, you can always go back to the video and look at on the hard drive and see what the incident was.
And you find out what lady brought her dog into the back, huh?
Right.
And then clean up afterwards.
And you can remote view also, so you can remote view on a cell phone or from another computer.
Well, I know popular now are the nanny cams and the baby cams.
Right.
One of my friends from Oceanport, he's an attorney, and his wife was working in the brokerage business, and they always wanted to make sure that the kids were safe, so they had the baby cams. I said that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you can do that. You can pull it up on your cell phone, take a look at it, and see what's going on at any time. And again, the best thing to do is have it recorded, because if you're not watching at the time when something happens, you have it on a hard drive.
Now, in a business like yours, where do you get customers? I mean, I know we heard from you from a reputable source that says you wanted good security, go call this guy, and then you did it for my office, and then that's how you got me back into Rotary by joining the Rotary here in Greater Long Branch. But I mean, a lot of word. I mean, you said you have a fairly significant customer base now.
Well, I mean, I did start doing this way back in the mid-'70s. I've been doing it in Monmouth County since 1980. So even when I started my own company, a lot of the customers I dealt with before over the years had found me and come back to me. So again, word of mouth is one way we get a lot of business. And when the burglars strike, my business gets busy as well. So
so crime is good for your business.
Crime is good for my business.
But people don't want crime, so they hire you to make sure there's no crime.
Right. Unfortunate for the customers, but we do a good job of protecting them, and we're happy to do that, and we feel good about doing that and protecting our customers.
And it's not just crime, because you always have the alarms, the smoke, and all the other things
Absolutely.
that you talk about. How are these things sensitized? It's funny because since we're in a bank of townhouses together, we can sometimes hear the alarm going off in someone's kitchen because probably the roast was smoking from there. Who calibrates the sensitivity to something like that?
The detectors come calibrated from the factory, so we don't touch the calibration on them. They're predetermined. We install them, and when they start getting old, then they get a little bit more sensitive.
But we may have to rewire sometimes, right? I mean, if they with new government safety features, for example, it used to be just smoke detectors. Now you got carbon monoxide that's being thrown in, and there's those different heads, and requires possibly different wiring too.
Yeah, carbon monoxide has become a code for new construction. So any new home that's built has to have carbon monoxide protection in it.
And I've seen also on closing, some towns are now requiring on a CO that you now have to retrofit and get your CO.
Exactly. Even if it's a portable battery device, you have to have a device in there to pass your
and that's so
CO
people
inspection.
don't keep the cars running in the garage like they should.
Right.
I mean, what is the principal source of carbon monoxide? Is that cars?
Well, number one is your heating system. So if you have a hot air heating system, there's ductwork going through the home. So your heating system can transmit the carbon monoxide into the home through the ductwork. So that's the number one reason to have it. Also, your stove could misfire. You can have a hot water heater not firing properly, which can also emit carbon monoxide, or a backed up chimney. So if your chimney's backed up, it'll come back into the home and cause a serious problem. So even if you have a battery device not connected to an alarm system, everyone should have carbon monoxide.
COs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, one of the things if you were to tell a high school student, is this something that you find interesting as a lifetime career?
Well, I mean, for our industry, there's not a lot of people that do it, so it is hard to find good qualified people to do alarm work. So we don't have a plethora of people out there to choose from. So we find we have to do training ourselves. So if a lot students would be more geared to going to a technical school for starters, any kind of a training school, technical training, they could then get themselves prepared to come work for an alarm company, and then they could get on-the-job training for 4 years.
So go through like a VOTEC first, and then easier way right into something that you do.
And then you have to be somewhat proficient with tools, hand tools, and be able to drill holes and things like that. So it's not all just a matter of learning to program a computer. You have to work on the job site, on a construction site, pull wires, and learn how to work with tools.
And also understand some technical stuff too.
Yeah, exactly.
Which probably is beyond just regular reading and writing. It's really absorbing certain new, especially as I said, the new stuff that comes out.
Right.
And when a company comes out with new stuff, do they actually afford some kind of training that
They
you
do.
wind up going to places?
Yeah, they provide training, and we
Is
have
that in Bermuda or is that Huntington
no,
Beach,
unfortunately,
California?
it's usually
Uh,
in New Jersey or New York.
By
But,
Rooney's or someplace? Or
no.
whatever? No.
but we do attend quite a few of these type of training classes, and as a owner and a license holder for my company, I do have to go on and do many what they call CEU credits, which is training, ongoing training to maintain my license.
Now, aside from your bread and butter, which is your Atlantic Security,
Right.
You're also in a band.
Yeah, I'm in a band.
Yeah, you play the drums.
I'm a
huh?
drummer. I
To
play
a different drummer or your own drums?
No, I do beat to my own beat for sure.
Where have you been playing recently?
We've been playing at over Molly McGuire's over in Rumson. We play at the Beach Walk Tiki Bar over in Seabright, and the name of the band is Black River Band. We're basically '60s influence. We do a lot of Beatles and Stones, and
A lot of songs before you were born?
well,
yeah,
I
no,
wish I
exactly.
could say that,
Yeah.
but not quite. But yeah, I do some singing in the band. I do drumming, and it's a nice hobby. I've done it from way back when. I still enjoy it, and haven't been able to get it out of my system yet. So.
I remember you told me that a jazz band invited you, and it just wasn't the right kind of mix. You preferred going into the '60s music than something that was.
I mean, I've played everything. I played in a soul band, a Motown band, a blues band, and now I'm doing basically '60s rock, and I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
Did you make much money out of that?
No.
No, oh, it's more for
We
the
don't
fun?
make a lot of money, but we enjoy what we do. We have a great time doing it, and it's a lot of fun.
And you're also involved with Rotary. You were past president.
Yeah, I've been in
and
Rotary.
A lot of good projects.
Been Rotary in Long Branch since 2000, and
Moved up the chain.
yeah, I was a president. I've been on the board pretty much since I've been in the club. And
Raising money, good
raising
causes,
money, fundraisers,
scholarships.
international fundraisers. So it's very rewarding, and I enjoy doing it. And the people I meet and the friends I've made over the years have been wonderful.
Getting back to your company, you said there's not much competition. So
There's
it
a
seems
lot
like
of competition.
There's a lot of competition, but there's not that many technicians or people of your skills, is what I'm saying.
No, it's hard to find good people. So the best thing for us is to find someone who's coming out of school and is really willing to learn and work their way up the ladder. And we'd be willing to train somebody if we needed to. So that'd be the best way to get a job.
Now the electrical stuff that you do, though, it's not necessarily heavy duty. Meaning, the wiring is not the same as other than hard wires. Was it low voltage?
It's low voltage.
It's
12
called low
volt we
voltage?
work with usually 24 volts it's the most, so you're not going to get electrocuted, that's for sure. And it's a light gauge wire, but you have to be very careful when you pull it. You can't pull on it like you could pull on a heavy electrical wire.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're at the time where we're going to be wrapping up. If anybody want to find out more information, say from Gordon himself, you could contact the Greater Long Branch Chamber of Commerce, where all of our guests have connections with the website, and you can find out more information from there. Well, Gordon, this time goes real fast.
It did.
And as I said, maybe next time we'll get Charles to have a cup of coffee or some no donuts, because you don't want any powdered sugar on your beard.
Right.
So anyway, thanks again, and stay tuned for another segment of Scan's Career Corner.
Take it from me. Living with a chronic disease is no easy task, but I learned to better manage my health condition, and you can too. Take Control of Your Health is the chronic disease self-management program created by Stanford University. This fun, innovative course is now offered to all county residents. Diabetes, arthritis, heart disease, cancer. Take Control of Your Health gives proven strategies to manage these conditions and reclaim your life. See how nutrition, exercise, and various mind techniques can help you overcome depression, increase energy, and manage pain. You'll not only get this book when you participate, you'll also receive the guidance and support of others living with a chronic illness, just like you. Take control of your health in 6 short sessions.
Call the number on your screen to register or get further information at scannj.com. Brought to you by SCAN, Social Community Activities Network, with funding made available by the Monmouth County Office on Aging.
Hello and welcome to another segment of Scan's Career Corner, co-sponsored by the Greater Long Branch Chamber of Commerce. This segment we're going to cover real estate. Now I'm not talking about the stuff that you live on, but the people who help get you to live on real estate. And we have here today a friend of mine, Bob Goodman, who's actually, his name's a little different. We'll find out more about how he came about with that. But he's going to talk about the real estate business, salesmen, brokers, and dealers, I guess, if you want to call it that. Welcome, Bob.
Welcome, Len. Thanks for inviting me to the show.
We're really pleased that you're here because everybody lives someplace, we hope, and you got to get there somehow. And you're in the real estate business. Tell us what can you do in the real estate business? Salesman. Tell us how to be a salesman. How about that?
Well, everyone is a salesman in the real estate business if they've got their agent's license. But I think probably a better way to describe what a good real estate agent does is that they're a property marketing expert. Essentially, they're going to help a seller either find the best way to sell their property, or they're going to match up a buyer with the right property that's going to fit their needs.
How do you become a salesman? I mean, other than just saying, hey, I want to go to resources, I want to be a salesman.
It's not required, but it's really great to have sales experience in your background. I had actually, my own career started in the technical field working for AT&T Bell Labs as an engineer. But when I got to this point in my life and had a career change opportunity, I had at least 10 to 15 years of sales experience in the mobile industry as well. So I think it's helpful to have that in your background and understanding of customer service. But in terms of just how one becomes a real estate agent or a sales associate with a brokerage, is very simple. You have to take up to 75 hours of instruction.
That's simple?
Well, some may struggle with it, but I found that it was okay. It was very easy for me.
Do you need a high school degree necessarily?
You need a high school diploma,
Okay.
75 hours of instruction. You also have to undergo a background check, and you have to pass a state exam.
So you need the basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic, I guess.
Essentially.
And if you don't, you may not survive in the business very long.
Well, the good news is that a majority of the folks who actually go through the real estate instruction school will probably pass it on their first pass. And if not, they'll get a second chance 30 days later.
So these 75 hours you mentioned, where can you do that? Can you do it like in Brookdale or Monmouth or like Brookdale and Lincroft? Do they have courses that
They
offer
do.
that?
There are actually, interestingly enough, there are college level programs designed specifically for real estate. Fairleigh Dickinson is probably the best one known regionally. But you can just go to adult education programs. You can go to Brookdale. You can go to
You mean
schools.
like night school at like Long
Exactly.
Branch or Shore Regional or someplace like that?
Right, and then there are specific real estate schools.
That's it. But you mentioned that you had a sales background. It seems to me I do a fair amount of real estate closings that the realtors that succeeded, I'm not talking about the real estate companies, whether it's Resources or anybody else, it's that the person who's handling that particular transaction has to have the personality and perseverance and drive to get the deal done. And I'm not saying overboard, because sometimes, an agent can be too pushy and say, this is not really the house I want. But a successful one is the one that says, okay, I'm going to find the place that's ideal for you and let you decide.
I would agree with that. I found in my own experience in the business so far is that if you work as a problem solver, instead of kind of like shying away from the difficult challenges, you're going to be much more successful in real estate. And you pointed out a very good word there, persistence. Yeah, because there's a lot of things that happen during a real estate transaction which can become challenging for the buyer, for the seller, even for the attorneys, as you know, and the real estate agent. Sometimes it takes someone who's got the ability to kind of herd all the cats, for lack of a better term, and kind of pull it all together and help the team move it over the goal line, to use a sports metaphor.
Or a home run.
Either way.
Baseball is my favorite. But now you've been in the business how long now, Bob?
Just a little over 2 years.
Over 2 years. Because one of the things and I've been doing this for close to 35, but we're about the same age, I guess. The point being, how the whole system has changed. Now, I remember doing a trial once before a judge, and it had to do what we call specific performance, meaning the seller wanted to get out of the deal, and my guy still wanted to go ahead and buy this location. And the judge says, "Oh, I did a lot of closings in my lifetime," and I'm saying to myself, but the whole thing has changed dramatically over the time. So it's not a simple contract, get a mortgage and close. You got inspections, you got COs, you got this, you got that. Some parts have oil tank issues, and now with Sandy, mold that people get into. I mean, you guys got to learn a lot of stuff.
It's true, but as complicated and as thorough of knowledge that you have to be successful, the good news is that all of these are in place to protect buyers and sellers. And that's really the most important thing. And a good agent will be able to convey, gee, I know you're frustrated that we have to do this or we have to do this way, but here's why. You know, and again, all of these have been put in place to ensure that this is a good transaction and that everyone will be satisfied with it at the end.
You have what tiers do you have? You have the salesperson or the agent, and then the next level is the broker. The broker of record is the one who runs the shop, I guess.
Essentially, well, it can be broken down into 3 tiers. You're right. It's the sales agent, everything from a novice to someone who's been in the business a long time. And then there are some sales agents who decide to get their broker's license. And not necessarily to open their own brokerage, but it's just an added credential that lends credibility, and it does help your practice.
Is that another 75 or 175 hours of training?
It is more instruction, but it's a lot more. Actually, you're required to go through an additional 90 hours of instruction, and you have to have been working under a sales broker for at least 3 years.
Okay.
And on top of those 90 hours that you need, you have to take 2 other courses totaling 60 hours about office management and agency ethics. Very important.
So my 175-hour estimate wasn't so bad. It was 90 plus 60. So
it's 150 altogether.
And that's a lot of stuff to do it right.
Correct.
I guess. Now, what about other careers such as real estate rental management? Is that a whole separate thing that you have to go through for licensure purposes, whether it's rental or running a building, for example, as a managing agent?
So, and it's just a fine distinction, but beyond basic licensing, after any continuing education you take on to address a different part of the market is known as a certification.
Okay.
Okay. Also, real estate agents, all real estate agents, including brokers, are required to get 12 credits of continuing education through any 2-year period.
Okay.
As part of their licensing requirements.
So, for example, what title company recently did one on the new closing statements that are starting this year.
New disclosures.
And so in the room was not just attorneys, you had salespeople there, you had bank people there, because they all want to find out what the new regulations are going to be, again, to protect the consumer. But so now you have, so then other certifications, maybe in appraising, for example?
Appraising, as you had mentioned before, property management. My personal goal is to get my commercial management license as well.
Okay, that would be office buildings, say, or medical complexes and things
Correct.
like that.
A lot of my work is in commercial, distressed, and multifamily investment.
Okay, people looking for good deals.
Everyone's looking for a good deal. Everybody.
Deal.
So.
And then so the package there. Well, let me ask you this then. With a commercial certification, does that allow you to do property management, or did you have to do that independent? You had to do that in connection with the commercial end.
So it's good to get both, as a matter of fact. You can just go and get your property management certification, and usually, folks who go that path are usually looking to be hired by a larger commercial management company and act as their property manager for a portfolio of different properties.
Like the ones that I've dealt with they run a apartment complex with, say, 150 units here, 150 units there. And I remember back in the day, it was just like anybody else. Hey, you want to collect the rents and do some leases, but now it's a whole another ball game about landlord rights, tenants' rights, and notices, and all the complications on what to do right when you're managing a substantial investment.
I would say good training for that is having paralegal experience, because you're right, you have to have good knowledge of local housing laws, tenants' rights, and it's also very good to have analytical skills, because there's so much more to property management today to understand, the income that's coming in, what the vacancy rates are, and the effective gross income that's being pulled in for each property.
It's funny because I was raised in an urban area, and now living down the shore, you have so many other geographic, not anomalies, but nuances. Like if you go, as a kid in Belmar, you had the summer rentals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, because you had the track, you also had rentals that went to the jockeys, you went to the trainers, and they were all almost like hotels, but they're not. They're really boarding houses, I guess, if you want to call it. And that's a whole nother set of laws that go with that. So, and plus, for example, I had something in Point Pleasant recently where they didn't require a CO on a resale, but it did for a rental. I said, wait a minute. Shouldn't a new owner be equally protected as a renter? You think from a policy standpoint and from a realtor standpoint, you would want to think to do that.
I can confirm that is correct, but they're less stringent for owners than they are for folks who are coming in as tenants.
But it just boggles the mind. But I mean, the whole driving purpose of whether it's the regulations for you or regulations of the physical structure, it's to safety and protect everybody.
Absolutely.
And for example, one of my secretaries says, I am going to hire a plumber. I'm going to hire an electrician. My husband is an accountant. He doesn't know anything about toilet bowls or sinks or anything like that. And not only that, when you're doing in the middle of a closing, you're going to hire a professional to get that plumbing job fixed for that seller, or that needs to be corrected, because you want, number one, that they're licensed, number two, that the town's not going to shut somebody down for bad work. So you yourself now have to have your whole bank of other experts and professionals you have to deal with. So your job isn't just selling stuff. And an old realtor once told me, when the economy's really good, you don't need a real estate license, you're just an order taker. And back in the day, okay? It's like selling land down at the Pinelands, everybody with 6 different owners on the same
Right.
patch of grass. But we have a little bit of time left. 2 things. Would you recommend this as a career to someone who is, say, just getting out of high school, that would look forward to, say, being on the footlights of Broadway and Long Branch?
Well, I recommend it to anybody who's got a desire to work in this field. They have a strong interest in real estate to begin with. And if they feel that they have a career in sales, it's great background experience as well. And it's something that they can do avocationally as well as a full-time job. Real estate is something, it's one of those careers where you're, for lack of a better term, you're almost an independent contractor. You can make your own hours and you'll be as successful as long as you work.
And I have to say this, in wrapping up, I've represented agents when they were getting stiffed by somebody on a commission, and having gone to the real estate organization down by Menlo Park, and I said, I know what you guys go through, because first of all, everybody sees that number on a commission. It could be 4%, 5%, 6%, but normally it's split. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then when you get down all the way down to who really did all the work, it's split and split and split and split. So you really work a lot to get to whatever you do. So with the little time we have, how'd you get to be Stephen Robert Bob Goodman? And you got 20 seconds.
I'll explain it real quickly. The Real Estate Commission insists that if you go by a popular name, even if it's your middle name, like I do, you have to give your full name, your full legal name. I guess there were some problems in the past where people were using different names, and that reduced accountability.
Bob Goodman, thank you very much and very informative. Thanks again, Bob.
Thank you.